Sit down.
Okay. We got 8.
Jerry, Steve's right here.
No, he's on operation.
Oh, never mind.
See everybody back to budget this week. You got the whole kick caboodle. You know.
Can't get everything done except yours.
Couple things.
Andy, you ready? Good afternoon, Commissioners. If we'll come to order, we will begin the monthly Anderson County Commission Budget Committee meeting for Thursday, April 6, 2023, 4 o'clock p.m. Robbie, if you would call the roll, please.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Wandell.
Here.
Commissioner Foster.
Here.
Commissioner Vandergriff. Commissioner Val.
Here.
Commissioner White. Commissioner Denenberg. Commissioner Beauchamp. And Commissioner Smallridge.
Here.
Let the record reflect, we do have a quorum. If you all will join me in prayer, and then we will ask Commissioner Foster to lead us in the pledge. Heavenly Father, we once again come to you to give you honor, to thank you for being so good to us, for saving us, for counseling with us, for guiding us, Father, when we will accept your guidance. Please forgive us of our sins, times we don't accept your guidance. Be with each one of us here today, Father, as we discuss the business of your people. Give us your wisdom. Tell us what you would have us to do, Lord, more than what we would want to do. All that we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Nixon, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. First item on the agenda is the cash and fund balance report. Director Holbrook, go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Restricted funds, $1,095,000. Committed funds are at $1.6 million. Assigned funds, $3.7. Unassigned fund balance is at $9.2 million for a total fund balance of $15,729,147. Cash is $20,811,036, which is up from last year, $1.7 million. And that's a good thing too, because normally we start going down in March, but this cash is will be the high mark until probably next February. So until we start collecting taxes again, so property taxes. Any questions on the cash and fund balance?
Hearing none, moving on.
All right, sales tax. We had a good month. County as a whole was up 16%. Anderson County's portion up 5% in February. So a good month for sales tax collections.
Any questions on the sales tax report?
All right, on the ARPA projects, just a couple of things to point out. Of our 24 projects listed, 6 have been completed, 10 have started or in progress, and another one, the Highland Communications that we have talked about before, we're going to get the money back. We almost have completed that, I'd say, by next month. We might be able to move that money back to the revenue loss. And 7 other projects that we haven't started or spent any funds on yet. So that's, we still have $5,607,086 total between revenue loss and other eligibilities that have not been committed to any projects yet.
How much was that again, Robbie? I'm sorry.
$5,607,086.52, excuse me. And when we add that Highland Communications back in, it'll put us at around $5.8 million. So,
From my understanding, I want to make sure I'm on the right page, that will be the remaining ARP funds.
that is it. Yes, sir. Unless any of these projects fall through and we're able to move them back up, which me and the mayor and Randy talked about that today. We think we couldn't find any that we thought that would relate to. So I do feel like that's our balance and what we will have left going forward.
Chairman,
Commissioner
Robbie,
Foster.
did you say that the Highland will go back to revenue loss?
Revenue loss. We have that in revenue loss. The other one, Comcast, is in the other eligibilities, but I think because Highland, we always knew we were going to get that, what we were going to spend in our funds on, like clearing the property or survey, would be money that we would have to use for revenue loss. So it will go back to revenue loss. Mhm.
Any further questions on the ARP funds? Commissioner Wandale, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Robbie, on items 1 and 2 there on ARP,
Yes, sir.
what is that for? It says employee retention payments, and then the one beneath was for non-exempt, one's for exempt. Which employees got this money?
All the employees except elected officials and CTAS salaries, which would include me and,
So that includes EMS, sheriff,
Yes.
highway, whoever?
every employee in the county, except part-time. We did not do any part-time.
Thank
And the reason it's exempt and non-exempt, if you're we have some employees that aren't elected officials or CTAS that are exempt from earning comp time, and we had to put that in the revenue loss section. Right.
And you said there's 6 projects, I guess, are listed here as completed.
Yes, sir. And they do have the status, project status has complete in the next to last column.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mhm.
Thank you, Robert.
Sure.
Any further questions on the ARP projects? Hearing none, moving on.
Okay, in the consent agenda, transfers not requiring full commission approval, there is a 0 because it kind of got added late. 0 through 8, I can take as a group, answer any questions, pull any out.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to move on.
As a group?
As a group.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve items 0 through 8 as a group, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 9 through 14 are from the school department. Most are transfers, and there is one appropriation. Transfers with payroll or major line item.
When it comes to the school department, we just pass it.
What'd you say?
So when it comes to the school department, we just usually pass it.
It is getting that time of year we're trying to make ends meet in budgets.
9 through 14.
I'm sorry?
9 through 14.
9 through 14, yes, ma'am.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Foster to approve items 9 through 14. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vandegrift. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 15 through 17 are from the county clerk. All 3 are increasing, well, 2 of them are increasing revenue and increasing a expenditure code. I will say the county clerk got a new revenue code this year. It's additional fees, titling, registration. Jeff, if I'm not wrong, it's $6 per title? $3 per title, and it goes into this revenue code, and the county clerk can spend it. It's basically to help with his ongoing projects or anything in his office that he, a retirement fund, yes. Travel fund for Jeff. But, so he's taking advantage of that. We have currently we've already built $79,052 in that code just this year, so it is going to be a code that will have some revenue in it, and it will be restricted at the end of the year if he doesn't spend it. Also, he's decreasing his restriction for data processing, $4,000.
Motion approved.
I'll second.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve items 15 through 17. Is that as a group?
15 through 17.
Seconded by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 18 is for the Conservation Board. It is increasing rentals, disposal fees, natural gas utilities, and other supplies and materials, $6,000 for a project that he is doing with the tourism department, they're paying $12,000 for the new park expansion. They're buying picnic tables, gas, I guess grills, fire pits, and they're both contributing to that project. So, and decreasing some codes that I found some money in, and maintenance and, not maintenance and repairs, that's their conservation restricted fund.
Motion approved.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve item number 18, seconded by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 19 is from purchasing, my department. We're increasing gov deals. We're selling so much surplus items that we need to increase our gov deals code, where we pay gov deals 20% of our surplus sale to handle the sale. But that also increases our revenue, so it's just an increased revenue for gov deals and the code that we pay that out of. We have like 6 more vehicles and some other things this month on this purchasing
Motion approved.
agenda.
Second.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve item number 19, seconded by Commissioner Wandale. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 7 is from the property assessor, $25,000 for legal fees. Hopefully that will get them through the rest of the year. I know we have an appeal going on currently with the Manufacturing Science Appeal in Oak Ridge that is tying up quite a bit of funds. So we're needing more money to pay those bills. So
Like what?
like 25,000.
Like,
What do you? I'm sorry.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve item number 20. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 21 and 22 are both from the Sheriff's Department for grants or a task force. The first one's a task force for Operation Egg Hunt, $18,037, increasing overtime and benefit codes, gasoline and other capital outlay for that, and Violent Crime Intervention Fund for $29,400.
Motion approved.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve items number 21 and 22, seconded by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 23 and 24 are from Fleet Services. The first one is this insurance recovery. It's the last 2 checks that Fleet Services will receive for the flooding issues they had at the motor pool. And the second one is a transfer for payroll, increasing part-time code $3,000 and decreasing other departments' maintenance for vehicle parts.
Move for approval?
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve items number 23 and 24. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 25 and 26 are both from the mayor. The first one is for the Health Department Dental Clinic, increasing other contracted services, $35,000 from unassigned fund balance. The request is for full architectural and engineering design services from construction documents through bid process through construction administration. The dental clinic and the health department have to be a separate entrance and purpose to move the county dental clinic to end of the building, thus allowing for needed renovations and dental program, as well as dedicated separate entrance and parking. Separating the projects is necessary as state health department renovations must be kept separate from local county dental program. And the other one's for $4,650 for the Veterans Memorial Bridge flagpoles. We have to do a land survey and to include locating edge of pavement for east and westbound, topographical features between lanes, including signs, drainage structures, guardrail, and other items for that.
Make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve items number 25 and 26.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wandale. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, then the last one is from the Highway Department, $400,000 for asphalt out of restricted for highway.
Whoa. There you go. I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve item number 27. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Vandergriff. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay. Under Section A, the first is a letter written by the mayor. We found two committed funds that can be released to back to their original. The one was for TCAP for $237,698. Committed may be removed from the committed for other purposes and returned to their original fund. She has located no outstanding request for TCAT. And the other one is the McNabb Center that we set aside $50,000 a couple of years ago, and they're not going to be using that money, so it can return to unassigned fund balance. I just need your all's approval to make both of those to get moved.
Motion approved.
Second.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve Section A request, seconded by Commissioner Vandergriff. Denenberg, I'm sorry.
Not Denenberg.
Beauchamp.
Bochamp.
We'll get it
All
right.
right, then, we'll figure it out.
She did it.
All right. We've never had three ladies on the budget committee at the same time that I can recall.
Privileged.
Yeah, we are, very privileged, absolutely. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wendell?
Robbie,
Yes, sir.
these funds, the numbers you gave earlier on the fund balances,
Yes.
they're still,
They're in there already. They're just in a different, they're in a committed. The 50,000 will go in unassigned, the 9.2 million. The other commitment will go back to industrial land purchase, 346851000. So it'll be in a different committed fund. So
but they're still in the original
yes,
codes that they were in before we passed this.
yes,
And then after this passes.
they'll be moved to a different code. Yes.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Smallridge?
Yeah, Robbie, they're restricted though to those codes, the use from,
They are restricted right now, but now the 50,000 will become unrestricted as soon as we move it. It'll be go into the fund balance, the 9.2, because that's where that originally came from.
and
That
the
50.
other part.
The other goes back to we have a restriction for industrial land purchase, and that's where it was taken from originally. So it has to go back into that code.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, under Section B, it's an emergency operations center. I'm going to let the Mayor Frank present this.
Mayor Frank, you have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So over the years, Anderson County has worked, and this has gone through operations. We've worked on the concept of a joint facility with the City of Clinton for an emergency operations center. And Clinton has had the desire for a fourth station at some point with growth in that area of the city and county. They have land that's located next door to SL Tennessee. That land is owned by the City of Clinton. We have worked on this. There's been agreement between the city and county to partner on this that was endorsed by the operations committee. But of course, funding has always been the challenge on how to make that happen. So Bryce is here, I believe. Yes, Bryce is here. And if you want to ask him any questions about the EOC. Bryce located a FEMA opportunity, which Tennessee is not, I guess we haven't found that they've been using this particular grant process. And so we reached out, and Congressman Fleischman's office is willing. The process is you have to have your congressman put this funding into the federal budget and then it is available for the state of Tennessee. It would be for this particular project, and then we would go to the full application. So it's not guaranteed, but the congressman's office is working on it. And the particular grant is not for the fire station, but it is for EOCs. So it's Emergency Operations Center specific. The estimated cost is $3,923,920. If awarded, we would be eligible for federal funding of $2,942,940, making Anderson County's project share 25% or $980,980.
Could you repeat that figure, please, 900?
Yes, ma'am, $980,980. And those are with your initial, we had to get architectural, Studio 4 Design actually has worked on this one over the years with us. And they had to do a cost estimate. That would, of course, get fine-tuned as we go forward in the process, but that's the high water mark. So the first step in the process is for the federal funding to be awarded, and if that occurs, it would be placed in the 2024 budget, and a full application would move forward. While we're not certain of the award, if awarded, Anderson County has 12 months to obligate the money, and I am just requesting Anderson County commit to the funding match of that 25%. I think it's a great opportunity. If you have been to I know some of you have been to our current EOC, it is a very substandard facility. There is definitely no ADA access to that particular facility. And long-term, I would like to see, we've got another building that is over there in that area that I know our sheriff's department uses. It's a substandard building that needs to be demolished, but it would be nice to get that back on the tax rolls. Maybe somebody could redevelop that property here in the heart of downtown, but that's a second issue. But that's what I'm asking for here today.
Do we have a motion? Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve Section B. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Commissioner Boching.
Robbie, where are we gonna get this 980,980? Where's it gonna come from?
That's a good question. It could come from unassigned fund balance. There may be.
Can we
some-
use it from the ARP funds?
For the grant match.
The issue we may run into is, when we would get the award and when we would have the, allocation of funding, we have to allocate the money from the ARPA, and it has a hard set deadline. And we may not get an actual contract award, for that grant until after that time, and then we have to spend it, by 2026 as well, which could also lead to some issues with this project, how long it would take to construct and things like that. So that money may or may not be on the table. It really just depends on the process.
Right. And I'm not asking to commit, to set aside the funds. I'm just asking for the commitment to the 25%. So we can determine that at, a later date. I'm just asking for the 25% commitment.
And it's gonna be a one-time purchase?
Yes,
This
it'd be a
money,
one-time.
We're not gonna have to pay additional funds later.
Pardon?
We won't have to pay additional funds later.
No, it
We'll
would
pay
be,
this.
so that's the city of Clinton would be, for operational, if we're awarded this, that is the construction cost. That would take care of the facility itself. If we are in the position of co-locating with the city of Clinton, the city is the applicant, then we would enter into an MOU for operational costs. I don't think even right now that they intend to man the facility. They just know that it is something that they want to do, and they would put equipment there. I think the plan is also to have an office for police and the sheriff's department to be able to be in that community if they need to stop by, do a police report, have that visible presence in the community.
Sure.
Commissioner Foster?
So the fire department, they are building the fire department there, or that where they would build separate, I mean, it would be in the same building, but I see the pictures where it's showing the fire
Yes.
department, but the money we're requesting is just for the operations
Yes.
center.
Just for the
That might
EOC.
bring the fire department
Yes.
up there at some point.
Yes, we're not sharing cost of the fire station.
And I guess my other question, I know you're just asking for the commitment of 25%, but, you know, Commissioner Beauchamp said something about ARPA funds. Is there, which I know there's a timetable, but is there somewhere we could designate that amount money, you know, that's ARPA funds, but it pays for something else this year, that we designate the 980,000 in the unassigned, knowing that we use the ARPA funds to pay for that, to set it aside, moving money, you know, Robbie sees what I'm saying, move money here to move
I got
money
you.
there.
Yes, we could look into that too.
Okay.
And we also have, and I hate to even bring it up, but we've set aside 3.6 million assigned for capital projects. That's kind of money we moved from unassigned to assigned. So we have those funds too also if we needed to use, if we wanted to use it for that purpose. But that's something we can definitely look
Yeah.
into, making that work.
And so,
Director Yeager, go ahead.
oh, no, go ahead.
I'm for this center. I think it's greatly needed, but, and I like the idea of partnering with Clinton, but I want you to remember in 2006, we signed a master settlement agreement for the annexation at the interstate that mandates that Clinton build a fire station there. And the concept was that it would have an opportunity for our sheriff's deputies to stop by, rest, write reports, whatever they needed to do. So I don't want us to build a building for them that they're already obligated by contract to build. Now, if that's just our portion, then I understand. It probably sounds like a good idea, but Clinton needs to build that fire station as promised in 2006, and it's supposed to be in the interstate area. We signed a contract on that, so thank you.
Do they have,
Go ahead.
do they have the property already?
Yes, they own property.
Yes, so we actually, back one of the first times when I came to Operations Committee with this idea, SL had made land available. And so the city manager and I did meet with officials of SL Tennessee. This has been many, many years ago, asking permission, like if we co-located, so if it were a fire station and emergency operations center, if they would be agreeable to that, and they were, so, yeah. And we're not constructing, again, we're not constructing the city's fire station. Our costs are only for the EOC. And by the federal grant, that is all that we can apply for, is what is our share for EOC. Yes.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Smalley?
Mayor, and this is kind of a simple question, I guess the title should tell me, but what goes on in this, what would go on in the center?
Okay. And Bryce, I'm going to have you come up here. The Emergency Operations Center is the headquarters in the event of an emergency. So, Bryce, I'll let you talk a little bit about the details of the center. And then also, the need for this as a backup for our dispatch operations and other things. So I'll let you fill them in.
So the primary concern for the Emergency Operations Center is in the event of a man-made or natural disaster, what they use in EMA terms is you spin up the EOC. So the first person there, which is normally either the director or the program manager, will initiate for our emergency support functions to go down there and operate out of one general area. It kind of takes the not necessarily the operations side out of a scene incident. So if something was to happen at DOE, you know, their scene incident is still there, but majority would be ran out of the Emergency Operations Center. So if there was any resource request or tracking of what their daily duties are to building out incident action plans, that's the main operations of it. But here recently we've had some storms that have caused major damage throughout the county. and it's caused a little chaos between our volunteer fire departments. So I come up with a plan to kind of incorporate the EOC, which it's supposed to be and it should be, but it hasn't been done in the past. So I come up with a plan and presented to them on Tuesday, ways that the EOC could help out. So, you know, coordinating the volunteers' responses to these tree down calls and the power lines down. So it's just a wide range of what we can do there. But the main primary focus of it is for a major disaster, for everything to be ran out of one area.
And what about staffing for,
So currently, EMA only has 2 full-time people, myself and Karen. We have around 7 to 9 part-time employees, but Monday through Friday, me and Karen are there throughout the week, and we're on call 24/7. So if they call us, and you know it's a weekend or it's an Easter weekend, they call us, we will respond to the EOC to go ahead and set everything up.
so we wouldn't, one last, we don't see additional staffing needed for this?
No, there's no additional staffing to it because the emergency support functions are actually designated areas. So we have the highway department is one, the sheriff's office is one, EMS is an emergency support function, the fire department has an area, American Red Cross. So it's a wide range, and our current EOC only has 10 seats. So it would kind of split up the 16 ESFs, plus not give us an area for you all as a body and the mayor to come in, because, you know, we all know that when a disaster comes, it takes money to operate out of it. So it would give an area for you all to come in and meet and decide on decisions like that, but our current situation doesn't allow for that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Foster.
So your guys' headquarters would move there, you guys be permanently staffed out of there?
Yes.
correct? We would look to put that other deals back on the taxing effort here now and redevelop the property?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Mondale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor, I guess my question would be, who's gonna be the owners of this facility? And who's gonna, I guess I heard you say do an MOU, but I kinda like to know that going in before we get started, because I don't wanna commit money and then all of a sudden one side say, nah, we're gonna run it all, and the other side gets upset and we've already committed funds. So
Right.
what's the thought there?
That Anderson County would own the EOC and the fire department would own their section,
So it'd be one building, but like a firewall in the
Yes.
middle or something? Is
yes.
that the intent?
Well, I mean, there's, I think in, the hope and what we're putting in the grant application is it furthers collaboration. I mean, you don't want to lock anyone out. I mean, it's, should be a facility where, both sides are coming and going. But yes,
It should be, yes.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing is we currently, so a lot of the supplies in the event of an emergency, if there are resources needed, are actually, 8.6 miles from so we're kind of spread out. We have them in a hangar that used to be, it's in David Jones Industrial Park. It used to be for Lifestar. And so a lot of the materials and supplies are there, and we're hoping that, through the creation of this facility, we can consolidate everything and eliminate that kind of gap and travel time and the cost of duplicate, facilities.
It looks like there's gonna be training space in there too.
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, section C is for an ARC power grant. I'm gonna also let the mayor speak to this.
Let me grab my folder on this one. Okay, so this particular grant came about pretty quickly. Appalachian Regional Commission has a grant program known as the Power Grant, and I have in the resolution the full name of this. It's Partnerships for the Opportunity in Workforce and Economic Revitalization Power Grant. And the particular one we're looking at, they do some planning grants, which are for small amounts, and then that are really technical assistance, and then they also do implementation grant funding. This came about very quickly. I talked to Dr. Parrott about possibly some training programs. Ultimately, we landed on what is a dream, and Nathan, I'm going to ask him to come up here to speak a little bit about this, because as you know, he's shared with you many times about doing in-house training and how much more effective we are, and the opportunity that would be provided here to grow that. And to kind of back up a little bit about ARC, what they do is they're focusing, their investment priorities are on things like entrepreneurship, developing industry clusters, developing a competitive workforce, and by that they mean providing people the opportunity for upward mobility, for new training, the ability to go out, get a job, put food on the table. And then ARC Power Grant can also be for broadband. In this particular grant, what we're looking at is an EMS training facility, and I'm going to let Nathan talk a little bit about that. Yes. I was just seeing if there was some other background I could give him first, Nathan. I apologize.
No problem. So yes, as she was saying, this is for a training facility. This is not a substation. This is not going to be used for other operational items. This is going to be for training. The idea is to be able to take our programs that we teach and be able to teach them year-round. So our EMR classes, our EMT, our advanced EMT, eventually trying to add paramedic, critical care, and soon we'll be adding community paramedicine courses that we're able to teach. And we have 2 classes coming up starting May 2nd. We've got an EMR class, emergency medical responder class, which we teach primarily for the fire departments. And we have an EMT basic class also starting on May 2nd. It's a night class that was geared towards first responder departments and getting their providers in the class and providing it at an extremely low cost to their departments. The EMR is free to all of our first responder departments. The EMT class, we do ask that they pay the state mandated $175 fee, but that's all we ask them to pay. So ideally, one of our aspects for being able to maintain, sustain, develop, and grow is to be able to provide it in-house. The dream and the aspiration for our department, especially our education department, someone can start their career and end their career training-wise with our organization. That we would not be necessarily reliant on an outside organization, although we can partner still with them, with TCAT, Roane State, or wherever else that might be. But we have the staff that can teach these classes. We've been teaching EMT. We've already had 3 classes. We've got our 4th one starting. We've been teaching EMR for probably about 20 years now. Advanced EMT, we just got approved, and we'll be teaching our first class in the fall. So the thought again is we could take a space like this that we could basically teach class, have a class one after the other. We could have it going where now we're having to try and find ways. Like I said, we have 2 classes starting on May 2nd. We are using somebody else's space for part of that. Clinton Fire is allowing us to use some of their space. It does turn into a little bit of a logistical hardship. You have equipment going back and forth between the classes. This really brought about an idea for us to be able to bring something new to the area in a place like Rocky Top that this grant would work for. So part of it was also for us to add one more full-time instructor and to have part-time pay to pay for additional staff that would help with the classes. So that was factored in. I do not believe it will take more than that staff to provide it. This is something that we also hope that although we have this facility, if there are other needs in the community, public safety community and especially, if they need a facility for training, that they could use this facility as well. Now, it's a classroom mostly. It'll have rooms that we'll be able to use for scenarios and things for them to train. So it's not going to be like a fire tower. It's not going to be something that you're going to see a lot of advanced equipment and so on and so forth inside. But that is the aspiration that our department has had for quite some time and we've been building towards.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yes, sir.
Any questions for the mayor or Director Sweet? Commissioner Wandell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, we just talked about the Clinton facility, and I think we ended it with it's going to have training space. It makes no sense to me to commit almost $1 million to build another one 10 miles down the road. That's just me. I'd rather put $1 million into creating jobs, and don't get me wrong, I know the training creates jobs and whatnot, but Rocky Top has a lot more need, and this is just Tracy talking, I don't represent Rocky Top. They got a lot more need than having a facility to train people. They need some jobs a year ago. So for me, I can't support $962,000 of cost for a $180,000 return. That's what we're looking at here. The amount that we're going to get on the ARC Power funding is $180,000. You're shaking your head no, Nathan, and I'll be happy to shut up and listen.
It's a 50% match.
Yeah, they would give us, Commissioner Wandell, so the construction is like $782,000. They would actually give us that amount. And then the estimated, we're putting in there if someone chose the max benefits, the estimate for staffing would be $180, spread out over 3 years. And the grant pays for that as well, so.
Well, and I hear what you're saying, but I'm just reading what was presented. On page 1, the last sentence says, the construction and the staff funding commitment combined total for Anderson County is $962,894. You go on to the next page, and it says county commitment for construction, $782,894. ARC Power funding staffing, $180,000. And then county commitment for staffing, $180,000 spread out over a 3-year cycle. Nowhere in here do I see that any amount that ARC is going to give for half of the construction.
So
Go ahead.
it might be like, not on your page. So right at the bottom, there's like a space and it says, so the county is 962, and then I broke it down and it says ARC Power funding for
I do see
construction.
that. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they would do then it's the county commitment is the same because it's a 50-50 match.
I'm for growing EMS, but you know, and I heard what Nathan said. This isn't for a location, a station, but you know, I've sat up here a while and I've heard about putting a location, a station out in Claxton, and you know, you don't ever see nothing happen. You know, and I get a little frustrated. And then I'm asked to sit here and spend $1 million. But what I don't hear is anything about the district that I represent getting coverage. And what I did hear in the workshop was there's more code whites. Now, we can turn that into, well, we need to train more so we have more people, so we don't have code white. And I get that. But it sounds like the training's being done now as is. Sounds like if there's a facility that's gonna go in Clinton that has training, space available, they could use that. I mean, somebody can convince me if I'm wrong, and Mayor, you maybe see this as I'm against the EMS, but I'm not. That's a lot of money. I mean, we got people sitting out here who wanna get raises.
I understand, and it's
Nathan's good, people need raises.
Yep. I totally agree, and I'm gonna advocate for this because I think it makes sense. It's an opportunity where we get 50% funding to do something better in Anderson County that would, I look at, first of all, that this is a grant that is geared towards coal-impacted communities. Rocky Top has been coal-impacted. Claxton is also, and we put that in the resolution, has an impending impact. And I think, next round, that's something we look at for Claxton Elementary. We have a new school. I think with what they're talking about with training for entrepreneur workforce, that a STEM program under the ARC grant makes sense. But I think advancing this county, this makes sense. When I look at the demographics, the census data for Rocky Top, and I look at poverty rates, I look at unemployment, I look at driving down the street, I look at vacancies, I look at the delinquent tax sale auction. And when I look at all of that, I look at Rocky Top and I say, this is an opportunity. We have TDOT, and I know there's disagreement whether TDOT should go there or not, but if you put a TDOT there, you put the professionalism and the expertise of a county EMS operation that will train people from Scott County, and Nathan has support letters from, 9 different agencies right now. You put that, you show people in the community, you show other investors, look, we can come, we can be here working in Rocky Top. I know Stephanie never liked the idea, but there's several commissioners sitting here that know for 6 or 7 years I've advocated for tourism to go into the Coal Miners Museum for exactly that reason. The more people you bring off the interstate, the more people you see lay eyes on this community that needs investment. And I like an idea like this better than I like tax write-offs for people to invest in the community. Because this advances not only our workforce and the people who live in our community, but it addresses a public safety sector where there is proof and data of demand need for trained personnel in this particular area. And also, a lot of people don't realize it, but EMS personnel often rotate out of EMS and go into the healthcare field, which is also another demand industry right now. We have people in our EMS department right now who work in the emergency room. So I'm not going to go away mad if you don't approve, but I just think this is something that Anderson County can be proud of. And if you went to other counties or you went to statewide meetings, this is something that would be a model, I believe, for other communities. And for a $762,000 construction investment. We did not put in here revenues, but there will be revenues generated from training.
Well, I appreciate your comments, and I'll consider it, but I just, you did reference TVA Bull Run.
Yes.
I mean, coal industry's been gone a long time in Lake City. But I understand the need in Lake City. As I said, I drive through it about 3 or 4 times a month myself. For one reason, to support the community and hope that something can get done. Because it bothers me too. Just like it bothers Commissioner Val and Isabel and everyone else. I'll consider it, but it doesn't say in the resolution, it says that we authorize the submission of the application and agree to the 50% match requirements to increase labor participation and upward mobility of the EMS, fire, police, rescue, in some cases, nursing fields. But it doesn't say anywhere in there that I read that ARC is gonna match 50%. Maybe that's what it says there, and I just don't understand it, and I don't have a good enough education, I don't know.
Well, I can definitely amend this, but we were very specific in, if you look at the header, it says, grant funding in the amount of $962,894. So that is the grant funding amount we're requesting. And then we are required to match the 50%, so it would be the identical amount. It's just ours on the staffing part would be spread out over 3 years. That's why I broke it down in the letter, the ARC power funding for construction at 782.
Is there a timeline on this?
I don't know what the award timeline is. I know for if they match, I mean, if we get the award, what we applied for was 3 years of the staffing support that, so that total, yes.
Spread
So-
out over 3 years?
Yes, yes, sir.
So you're saying 180,000 spread out over 3 years?
Yes.
Is ARC's commitment, if awarded?
For the personnel, and then the construction,
And then 50% of the construction.
they would give us 762,000.
If
782.
Oh, well, as far as the timeline, yes, we have to file the grant application by April 19th. So the letter of intent, I mean, this was literally, I think we put this together in a few days just to even see if the concept would be fit within the guidelines.
Where would this be built? What property? Would we have to buy property?
We have a delinquent tax property,
And it's clear, it's ours, we own it?
yes.
Okay. To speed things along, because I know we got a lot of other things to cover, I'll support this in theory. All I'm gonna ask, Mayor, from you is, I need some support in District 1. I need an EMS unit in District 1. And also, we're gonna need some additional assistance when Bull Run shuts down December 23rd of this year. And you know, things come together pretty quick sometimes, and I'm
Yes.
glad to see it. But, you know, it seems like where I sit, it takes a while for my stuff to kind
know.
of come over to my district.
Well,
and
we've
it-
got lighting, which is a pretty big ticket, is
Lighting.
in, for your district, for State Route 170 is the next item on the agenda. And, you know, a lot of these
Well,
things
that's
do
great
take
news.
time.
I just haven't had time to read the agenda.
Yes.
I'm busy too, so I'm reading as we go, but I did get the
Yes.
operations agenda and looked at it, and that's how I got ahead on this.
Well,
so.
and, you know, a lot of these things do take time, and for instance, on this one, I mean, the first thing I thought of, you know, and no offense to Nathan, but the first thing I thought of, you know, when you have to put something together pretty quickly is, what do you already have the data for, and that I know, and we can make a strong case for, and what is the need? It's like EOC. We have had EOC hanging out there. I know Chief Lucas was here, and we worked on it, and we've toured, and I guess going back to 2018, Bryce, I don't even know, were you with us then? So a lot of times you just have to kind of, you know, okay, I had a couple of votes of commission, they support the concept, and then you just wait for the opportunities. And that was like the EOC grant.
If it
you
can
know-
be tightened up, you know, with the resolution and stuff to be spelled out a little more clear. And
I'll be happy to do
and
that.
it doesn't sound like you have to have a commitment of funding today. Just
We just have to, we have to have
Kinda
that
like we
off,
did
we
earlier?
have to have this resolution, yeah. So I'll clean up the 50/50. You know,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman,
and
but I
to
appreciate it.
to Bull Run, I mean, for instance, we had an industry appreciation luncheon, 3 weeks ago. After it was over, I went up, talked to the commissioner and Commissioner of Economic and Community Development for the state of Tennessee, and we chatted about my kids, and then I said, Commissioner, I want to talk to you about the Bull Run site. And so I am, you know, I keep all my districts in mind, but that's a great opportunity in that particular area. I've been an advocate for the pedestrian trails and the bike lanes and opportunity on that corridor. I mean, a lot of it is just, it's waiting for these opportunities.
Just, you know, I understand.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, one last thing. Could it be considered to use this facility with tourism as well?
I don't know. I know like one of the things we initially looked at was a co-location, and it did not fit the grant guidelines, is
Okay.
why we had to do this on its own.
And thank you for the discussion.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Sheriff.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioners, before we continue with this, we're going without a motion. So, if we could, if someone would be willing to go ahead and make a motion in a second, we'll continue discussion on that. So do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Denenberg to approve Section C. Do we have a second? I'll second it. Now, for further discussion, Commissioner Bochamp.
Mayor, this says 180,000 spread out over 3 years, so they're only gonna pay for a salary for 3 years.
Correct.
And we have to pay it for 20, 30, 40
Yes.
years.
Yes.
And then, so it looks like we're spending $782,894 just for the building, just for construction.
Yes.
And then, are they reimbursing us this 180,000? Is that what the top number is? Is that why you've got it there, where it says Art Power funding staffing? And then you say county commitment for staffing?
I just wanted to be transparent with you all what the separation was for construction and salaries.
Okay, so they're gonna give us this 180,000 reimbursement, but you wanted us to know that this was,
Yes.
and then we have to pay it. So, over
We're
3
we're
years.
just, yes, we're just committing to that.
Over 3
Yes.
years, that comes up to 60,000 a year. I've divided it up. And I'm kinda like Commissioner Wandell, we just approved a training facility. I understand 2 different facilities, 2 different areas, but I just added up these numbers for what we just did and all this money, and that's not reoccurring. That's just what you put on here. That's not going forward with salaries or anything. And we're already at 1.7 plus. And that's what the sheriff's department's asking for. And I know that we're fixing to give them heck in this budget process. I'm not supporting both of these projects whenever we're about to go through, the sheriff coming up here and begging and pleading. This is a training facility. We can use this. I'm sorry, I mean, I agree with Rocky Top, anything that we want to do to try to fund Rocky Top and clean it up and make it a better place. I went to school there, but I'm not supporting both of these projects at $1.7 million whenever they're gonna beg and plead for money. That's not fair. I
Well-
appreciate their grant, but this is a lot of money, and it's just not right to do both of these. We gotta figure this out and do one or the other, or call it something different. If you want me to vote for it, call it something different, but I'm not gonna vote for 2 training facilities.
Well, I'm proposing, so it's a one-time construction cost, and the county portion is $762. And I'm proposing to use funds that we have used to construct it's in the industrial code, and we have, as a county, used those funds for training facilities. So I'm not talking about recurring expenses. The sheriff's department's talking about salaries.
But
Uh,
this is a recurring expense,
For
because
the
we're gonna have to
salary,
pay a
yes.
salary.
Yes.
Theirs is a reoccurring, so it's basically the same thing. Maybe a little lesser in dollars, but we're paying a salary. And I'm just not gonna support this. I'm not gonna do it whenever we're gonna have to go through this crazy budget cycle of having to yell and scream at people.
The potential to use that industrial land code has 1.1 million, and it is committed, so we can't use that. That is not a potential to use that for raises or anything in the budget.
I
So
understand
that's just
that.
sitting there.
But
Now, the first
I'm
one,
with Commissioner
that-
Wandell. I go 10 minutes down the road and I'm in Rocky Top. We got a facility that we just approved. So I'm not gonna sign on to this. Until, you can call it something different, and maybe I'll be on board, but I'm not gonna sign on to 2 training facilities.
Commissioner Foster.
What was the balance you said of the industrial?
1.1 million.
Is that including the 237 we just put back
That's,
in?
I added that in, yes, sir.
Okay. On the salary question, will EMS out of their fund pick up the salary? Or is
Yes.
that gonna be a general fund
It,
cost?
it would be EMS.
And sorry, third question. You said there's a property that you guys have on that was on tax sale. You actually have the address? Obviously.
Not with me, no.
Is it in the city limits or outside the city limits?
Inside the city limits.
Thanks.
Commissioner Smalley.
Yeah, I guess I have a little different question. Training, I assume, is somewhat intermittent. You're not training every day. You don't have people in there training every day. Is that correct?
Currently, especially, no, we don't.
Yeah. And I guess I've been to your facility recently. You allowed us, we had a very nice visit, and it looked like it was a decent place. I guess my question is, could you not use your existing facility for training?
Not in this capacity, no, it's not. So some of the issues we've had classes going on the same time we do continuing ed for full-time staff. So somebody gets kicked up to the garage while they have ambulances driving through and people come to getting supplies, and we've got a projector up and try to build false walls. And some of the biggest feedback we've had from our EMT classes is that issue. Some of those people are paying to come and take a class, and they're having to take a class in a garage with people driving through and not a classroom. So we've had some of those issues. We're adding a new class, our advanced EMT class, which brings a higher level of certification and credentials. So now we have 3 classes, EMR, EMT Basic, and Advanced EMT to teach, which starts to create a lot of other limitations. We have about 20 other classes that we teach as well, certification classes that we, as you may have seen in the newsletter or not, we've had people from outside the state come and attend and pay to attend those classes as well. So having one classroom that we have right now, which is a converted garage, has created some logistical issues when it comes to training. Having somebody else's facility becomes a lot harder. At any point in time, they could say, sorry, I know you had your class, but we had something come up. We can't let you have the class for tonight or for tomorrow. Have to reschedule. We've tried some of that in the past. We used to work with the health department, and we used to have in-service training in their meeting room that we had our very first ARPA meeting, and it just became an issue. We used to take classes or conduct classes up at the Junior Achievement Building. We were using their facility for quite some time, and then they started charging us, and that's when we finally moved down to our garage. So historically speaking, we have tried several things in the past. Honestly, I know the current EOC has some training space. I honestly wouldn't consider it based on the type of facility it is. It's just, I've taken some classes there, no offense, Bryce, but it's something that we wouldn't use with their current facility. As far as their future project, honestly, I have not been a part of what that looks like. This facility would actually have 2 classrooms, and it would have additional rooms that we could use for scenarios, training opportunities. So we could have 2 classes running at the same time in one facility if we so choose, or if another department needed to use it, say Rocky Top Fire needed to use it, and the volunteer fire department, because they had some kind of a class that they were putting on, we can make that room available because we have another training room. So that was the emphasis behind this, and we've even had some discussion to try to remodel our current building, and could we get 2 training rooms out of that? And I'm all for looking at options and opportunities. This was a grant, like the mayor said, it was very short notice. I think we met on March 8th and maybe had to submit the letter of intent by like March 10th. So we try to put something together, try to put something to see if we could move forward with this and have some discussion. And we're trying to take those opportunities for grants. I did have something that was different from his question, but I'll wait.
That's all right, go ahead.
Oh, well, and kind of off topic, but Commissioner Wandell had asked about the Claxton community and some things that we have done, and I know Commissioner Mays has asked some questions in the past as well. We have had some discussions, not necessarily in what I would say the Claxton community. Part of the discussion when we got the station relocation study was one of the options was to take the Clinton truck and move it to South Clinton, put it closer to Claxton community to make that response capability shorter. We've had some discussions. I reached out with the Hollingsworth Foundation, see if there's any way we could not ask them to build us a station, although that would be phenomenal. But could we build on maybe their property, the backside of his Aspire Park, that he was going to have some facilities? The board came back and said no. Mayor Frank and I have had some discussions. I've driven down Highway Drive multiple times, taken a look there. I did put it in my budget for capital outlay requests. The 5-year capital outlay request I did put in there to build a station. So I have put that not just for this coming fiscal year, but future fiscal years. So I know you guys are budget process. You may or may not seen that because it's capital outlay and we don't talk about that directly and immediately at the beginning. But there have been things that we have been putting in there, discussing. I would love, and honestly, and I've mentioned it before, it may be a priority that we have to add a 7th 24-hour station, and if we do, Claxton is where that station needs to go. I've been saying this for years, that is where that facility would need to go, and I know Commissioner Mays has asked, what cost would that be? And I've put in there the cost of a facility, then we would add 8 more personnel and the cost for that personnel as well. Part of that is we did ask for 4 more people for a day truck. Idea there is if we eventually do have to add Claxton, instead of adding 8, we would add 4 more at that time and convert that truck from 12 hours to 24. So I know I haven't given a whole lot of update because there really hasn't been a lot to update on, but we have been trying to take a look. If we were to build a brand new station, adding a brand new station, absolutely 100% that station needs to be in Claxton.
Thank you.
It does.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Can we refer this to the operations, give mayor time to tighten up the paperwork and let the operations pick it up?
So the options to do that is another motion to amend the original or a
Well, the first
withdrawal?
problem I have with the original motion, and I may not be correct in this, but I don't think it's proper or allowable for a chairman to either make a motion or second a motion. Now, I may be way off base, but I don't think that's part of Robert's Rules of Order. Is chairmans are supposed to pass the gavel if they're going to take action or discuss. The only action chairman should be doing is have a motion, second the motion, take the votes, open discussion, but chairman should not be seconding or making a motion. At least that's the way I was taught. Now, I may be completely inaccurate. If I am, I apologize, but I think it'd be better if we just refer it to the operation, let them pick it up.
We have had that discussion before in our budget committee meetings, and if I recall correctly, and Commissioner Yeager loves to be put on the spot in these situations, it is proper in a committee for the chairman to do that, but not in commission. Am I remembering that right, Phil?
Small committees, and a small committee according to Robert's Rules under 12. That's the way I've,
Yeah, we have had that before.
yeah. But you're right. Historically, since I've been here, it hasn't happened.
Yep.
But I could find nothing saying that you can't.
But regardless, the 2 options to do this is we could amend the original motion, or the makers of the original motion, if they want to go ahead and withdraw, we can start again. So Commissioner
Mr. Chairman,
Ginniburger?
I'm fine with that. Normally I take all resolutions through operations, but as there was a financial impact, I felt it was proper to also bring it to Budget Committee. So I'm perfectly 100% fine taking,
It would have to come back to budget, wouldn't it, Robbie?
well, if we won, but that's why,
Okay.
because there was a financial impact, I wanted to be fully transparent and come to both committees with that. So
Mm.
it's whatever you all wish, what you're more comfortable with.
Commissioner Lindenberg, do you want your motion to stand, or do you want to withdraw,
I'll
or?
withdraw it.
Okay, I'll go ahead and withdraw my second. Now, we will open the floor for a new motion.
I'll make a motion to refer or defer, I guess refer? Refer to operations for them to pick up.
I'll second.
Commissioner Lindenberg beat you to it.
Oh, okay.
She'll second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, lighting on State Route 170, Mayor Frank also.
So I have in your agenda packet the minutes from a commission meeting. This was back in March 15th, 2021. Commissioner Meade made a motion that the mayor request TDOT include lighting in State Route 170 widening project, seconded by Commissioner Yeager. The motion passed, and Commissioner Waddell voted no, just for the record.
Excuse me, who voted no?
Waddell.
Waddell.
Yeah, just,
Yeah, Waddell, yeah.
just want to make sure you got the D in there. Some might misinterpret that.
The one that votes no.
So, if you will recall, this is something TDOT could add, but the local government would have to fund. So, what has been sent is an agreement page that is Exhibit A, noting the costs, and then also the project description. Then there is, your next attachment is the page from the local agency project agreement, and this is on the purchasing agenda, but of course with purchasing, it would be contingent upon approval of funding. And then I have the instructions for depositing funds, and then that note that it is in purchasing. So this is a very, very large price tag. The only thing, if the county does want to follow through with this, we would have to deposit $239,640 that would be due now. And then construction, realistically, right-of-way does not start until about 2025, then construction 4 to 5 years from now. And so we're looking at an early 2029 for construction. This would be lighting for the entire corridor from the bridge down to Clinton Highway. The total construction cost would be $2,396,370. So that is before you here tonight. I did talk to Robbie about, you know, how would you fund that if you're looking at a 2029, you know, construction start. He and I discussed maybe you go ahead and start setting it aside on an annual basis, perhaps with rollover funds. It is a pretty big price tag. Now, I can also say that I would be willing and happy to look for any and all opportunities if you want to do this for grant funding. So I do serve on the TPO and the RPO. And we would have some time to look for that, you know, with construction not starting, but you'd have to fund that 239 on the front end for all the NEPA work, so.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for discussion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wandell to approve Section D, seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wandell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor, I appreciate you bringing this to our attention, but for the life of me, I cannot understand how the state of Tennessee can be talking about a road construction project for now over 30 years and then come to us and ask our taxpayers to pay for the lights at not just $29.63 or $23.69 or whatever the number is, $2,396,370. I think that's wrong. I think with the people in positions they're in today in Nashville should have the fortitude and the gumption to demand the lights get put in there and find the funds to put the lights in, especially from our neck of the woods. Disappoints me that we even get something like this. Not your fault. You asked.
Yeah.
You did what we asked, and I thank you for that. But I'd be hard pressed to support spending almost $2.4 million on lights on a road that the state is responsible for, not Anderson County. We already take care of some lights, don't we, Mayor? The red lights. It's our problem when they go out. It's our problem when they're not working. It's our problem. And we take care of those lights. But this isn't on us. This is on the state. There's been another accident, 2 or 3, on Edgemore Road. I don't know how many more it takes. Again, I sit and wait and wait and wait. Maybe when I'm off this board at some point in my life, maybe it'll get done a lot faster by somebody else. I hope so, because I don't seem to have much luck. But this is, I'm not going to support $2.4 million. Ain't going to happen. We don't have lights now. It doesn't make it right. But I'm not going to support 2.4. What I'll do, Mr. Chairman, is make a motion that we devise a letter, either send it to the Operations Committee, or it can come out of the budget, or we make a motion to allow the mayor to write a letter to the state of Tennessee respectfully requesting the lights be included in the construction cost at the state dollars without any county dollars. And that's my motion.
We already have one on the floor.
Well, we'll call that an amended motion.
Okay.
Commissioner
I
Wandell?
can withdraw the first motion. I just wanted to talk, and that's why I made the motion on the first one, so I'll withdraw my first motion.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, though, Commissioner White.
I will
very much.
withdraw my second.
Okay, all right.
Now I'll make my new motion, which is to allow the mayor to draft a letter to the to TDOT and the state of Tennessee and CC them, the governor, lieutenant governor, and the state representatives in this region, and respectfully request that they include lighting for State Route 170 to State Route 9. And that's my motion, without county tax dollars.
From the bridge to 25
That's what they had in here, yes, sir. I would even recommend that we include our good friends in Oak Ridge, because for some reason, they're being left out on their side. I don't know why.
I think they've just, they do that with a lot of projects, so they had to, they split projects. And I think, I actually met with Dr. Watson about this. I met with TDOT about it. Now, I think if they got funding for all of it, that could still happen. I know that that was one of those Improve Act projects where the entire project got moved up. But it's not that they're left out. I think it's just the project is split in two. The federal funds are going to that bridge project. That has to happen first. So,
Okay.
yeah. And I think that's still the subject of negotiations. I will say, and I want to be clear, when this first was a topic, and I'm happy to write that letter and make that request, and the state of Tennessee has a lot of funds right now. They may be able to fill that. We were advised on the front end that that they could include it, but it would be local dollars. So I do want to disclose and say that on behalf of TDOT, that they did say that. It doesn't mean we can't go back and say, gosh, we didn't realize it's going to be $2 million, and is there any way that you can fund this? I had a great deal of sticker shock myself, and I'm happy to do some more research how other projects are funded. I will say that, you know, I'm not going to stand up here and advocate for that expenditure, but I will say that it probably in that area would be a good investment if you think about lighting that entire corridor where you already have Haw Ridge. You're going to go from Oak Ridge. You're going to have bike and pedestrian from the Oak Ridge side that starts down Clark Center Park. You have all those folks that come to the river. when we redevelop Bull Run. I mean, it's sticker shock if we look at it in terms of, you know, the numbers on the page for a one-time investment and if we're writing a check. But it could potentially be a game changer for the Claxton community and property values if you think about putting that kind of lighting along that corridor with all of the amenities. So I don't really want us to completely rule it out. Maybe we do some negotiations and see what we could do and maybe get them to put that funding in and just kind of keep that in the back of our minds.
Let me ask this.
Yes.
When there's a meeting on this project and you're notified, could you contact me so I can attend?
The last meeting that I think you and I were actually on the phone call together with Dr. Parrott, and I think the sheriff or someone from the sheriff's department was on that call as well about the safety and where we wanted crossing and if we wanted signalization. The only reason I reached out to TDOT on the project separation was because Oak Ridge Dr. Watson had asked me questions, and so I just reached out to say, what is the, you know, they call it the logical termini for the project, and I asked some questions about that, but it wasn't a per se meeting on the development of the project.
Any further questions?
Need a second.
Yeah, well, yes, we do need a second. Thank you.
I'll make a second.
Commissioner Beauchamp seconds the motion. And just to remind everybody, the motion is for the mayor to write a letter to TDOT to have them include the cost of the lights. That letter, without county tax dollars, that letter should include the governor, lieutenant governor, our state representatives, and Oak Ridge officials. Good?
Yes, thank you.
Seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp. Any further discussion? Commissioner
One
Foster.
question I have, is there, on the industrial, access grant, since we're talking about Bull Run shutting down and we're trying to turn that into industrial property, is there a way to put that lighting in that grant?
That's an excellent idea.
You know, that's
Yeah.
very shocking, is
Yes.
absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous. But, just thought maybe if we wanna go to TDOT, hey, this grant, cause then they have a different source of money that can help pay for it.
That's an excellent idea.
So,
Yeah.
Just thought might be, since we're trying to convert that into industrial space, I just thought, throw it out there.
That's
that
a
a
great
motion?
idea.
Did you include that in the letter?
Sure. I like it. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, I think we need.
I'll amend my motion to include that, if that's all right, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, and I think
Didn't we-
under that grant, our match is pretty, I can't remember, is that 5% or 20%, something like that?
There's opportunity out there and that can say, hey, this is how we're gonna come to the table, cause
Yep.
it's a different funding source for TDOT, cause they're using federal funds
Yep.
separately, and they'll do that sometimes, not all the time, but.
Well, and you've got that Melton Lake Greenway there, and I know TVA is talking about whatever happens over there, they do want to enhance all of the amenities to tie it in further with the Melton Lake Greenway there in Oak Ridge. So, I mean, it would make sense if we can figure out how to get it done.
Yeah, TVA could participate, maybe,
Yeah.
too.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay.
The next section is the fiscal year 23-24 proposed budget. What I'm looking for today, hopefully, is to approve budgets in the general fund that have met the guidelines. I gave you all some handouts earlier, and I've listed the 48 general fund budgets that are ready for approval. And we have 5 or 6, of course, that aren't ready for approval today. The law director, which he's speaking later, election office, the district attorney general, and all the sheriff budgets. But the 48 that are ready, part of the process is to go ahead and approve these budgets as part of the meeting the budget guidelines with no increases, and it helps us establish what expenditures we have in the budget and then maybe what revenue we have left over if we could accomplish that today. So I just need a motion for that.
Motion approved.
Motion made by Commissioner Foster to approve the following budgets. And you don't have.
I didn't list them, but I listed them. There's 11 in the general government, 6 in finance. And if you follow along on this summary of proposed budgets that I have in your section E in your budget agenda, they're organized by this, by general government 11, finance 6, administration of justice has 12, public safety 5, public health and welfare 5, 2 in social, cultural, and recreation, 3 in agriculture and natural resources, 3 in other operations, and 1 in capital projects. But you can see every budget listed there and that has met the guidelines. I took all the ones that did not meet the guidelines out of that summary, so it's just the ones that have met.
So the budgets we will not be voting on, law directors, election commission, district attorney general, and all the sheriff's budgets. We will not be voting on those.
Out of the general fund, that's correct.
And we won't be voting on library, solid waste, EMS, and tourism.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is.
So if you didn't hear your name called out, then you're probably one of the ones we're gonna be voting on the budget today. Everybody know what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have a motion by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Denenberg? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, Shane, if we can get a motion to approve the 3 in the other funds, the drug fund 122, the Channel 95 127, and the highway budget 131.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know you said those, but that wasn't included in the original motion, so.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve the budgets for the drug fund, Channel 95, and the highways that are ready for approval, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, like Chairman Bell said, I know there are some questions about library and tourism, so I decided to hold those out. And solid waste, we're doing a big RFP for the waste management, so we're not sure the cost of that, how it will impact that budget. And EMS is not ready, so that's the reason for holding those out. So next on the agenda is, since we didn't have a quorum for the budget hearings, I decided to let the 3 go that were on there from the general fund, except for sheriff and EMS, which we handled at the workshop. I'm not sure the attorney general's here, Dave, General Clark, so we'll just bypass that one, and maybe next budget meeting he can, but the mayor's next up on the agenda for her 2 requests.
Mayor Frank?
I feel like a podium hog here today. I'm sorry. I'm sure you don't want to see me anymore. The first one is maintenance personnel, and this is something that I had brought to you back in September of 2022. I came to the budget committee at that time and discussed the need for a position capable of performing routine maintenance and carpentry and repair for our ancillary facilities that include the health department, dental clinic, animal shelter, EMS headquarters and stations, tourism, senior center, and EMA. Budget committee at that time was very open to the idea, but I decided to wait and come back for the proper budget season. So that is the request I'm making. I know that also Nathan did not realize that I was bringing this forward for the budget hearing, so he has a similar request. So, I mean, if this is funded, we could take his out, but if not, he would leave that request in his funding request. So, we just thought it made more sense to do a shared position that could also take care of those needs when they arise for all of those other facilities, health department, and it would be more efficient to share a position that could do all those facilities. Then the second request is for a codes enforcement officer, and this has been an issue that has come before commission in the past. We did get some software, and I suggested that give us some time. Let's see how the software has, if it relieves enough of the burden and we can do more. It has helped, but just the case amount out there is quite a bit. So currently, we've got 321 cases in our ComCAPE program. 115 are currently open. The office is busier, and as you know, I think we recognize Danny for getting his certification in residential. We're doing more in terms of inspections, permitting, stormwater. Just to kind of show you, 10 years ago, our revenues on building permits were 62,000. 2022, 2023, 157,802. So revenues have increased to support additional personnel in that office. So I thought I would share that as some backup for that particular request. And that's all I have on the request, unless you have questions about what, more details on those particular requests.
And one thing I did include on the second page is the salary with the benefits. That's at the max benefits. If we did hire that employee and they took the max benefits, what the cost would be. So $108,354 for 2 employees at max benefits. They could take the minimum, which would not be much over the, 35 or 7,000. So just letting you all know the max possibility.
So what's the motion we need today?
Oh, I didn't, well,
I
you
mean-
didn't have a budget hearing, so I thought that was my
Typically
job
in the
today,
budget
was
hearings,
to
we
do.
have approved these, as, or not approved, but, we don't have to, we can take them back to next meeting and think about it. I mean, it's up to the committee what they would
Anybody
like
want
to
to make a
do.
motion on it right now?
I'll make a motion to allow the mayor to add these 2 positions, maintenance personnel and a codes enforcement officer, to her budget.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wandell to approve Section C, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no.
Thank you,
Motion carried.
Commissioners.
Next up, we have, Law Director, Yeager with his, to discuss his budget.
Director Yeager, you have the floor, sir.
I'll be glad to take the time, but I'll certainly defer to the sheriff's office. They got plenty of people here. I know they stay busy, so if they want to go ahead and meet us.
Well, they aren't even on the agenda, so.
Oh, okay.
No, we're not discussing sheriff unless they have something they want to say.
Robbie's bringing a little salary survey. What I'm here primarily is to try to reestablish the Assistant County Attorney Code. We haven't had that code since 2006. And at that time, paid just a little over can I have one to read off of? Thank you. Paid a little over $60,000, and I'll tell you up front, the person that I want to put in this position is Rachel. She's a 5-year attorney, graduated from UT undergrad, UT Law School. She's done a wonderful job for us. You don't know, I've got her in as a paralegal. And I'd like to put her in this position. And what we're willing to do is I'll forfeit one of the paralegal positions to help fund this. And this is where it's at. These are approximate. She'll get a $12,000 raise. She'll go from $60,000 to $72,000. We'll forfeit that paralegal position to assist with the funding. That reduces that paralegal code. This will allow us to have everybody's position individualized in the budget. I don't like to group positions as staff or personnel or anything like that. If anybody wants to look to the budget to find out what anybody in my office makes, you can clearly do that. This will be able to do that. We had that paralegal code with 2 people working out of it, and that'll get us back to having individualized positions for each, instead of a generic code. It looks like the request would be, if I took the money out of the paralegal code, it's somewhere around $33,300, and that's with benefits. That's with the CLE, continuing legal education, which is required each year. That's with her bar membership. That's with her professional privilege tax. There'll be a slight increase for any of these benefits that are driven off salary. That's the total package for what it accomplishes. But again, we'll forfeit a paralegal position that would make over $40,000 to help fund this. And the new money is somewhere around $33,300. I'll probably need Robbie to confirm all that. But the only other request I've got is, we're having a terrible time filling the position of paralegal. I've had one open now for right at 6 months, or over 6 months. I just can't find anybody to come in at $38,000. The people that we get applicants, and HR has done a good job. It's been on the website for months. But the applicants I get are people that don't have a certification or training in paralegal studies. I need that. I don't want to go back and have to train somebody basic skills. It's in the job description. I want to be able to hire somebody that meets the job description. The paralegal wage in Knoxville area is incredible. It's way above what we pay. And I'd like to bump that up to $45,000 to see if we get any takers. I do get people that apply for the job that have graduated law school and not passed the bar yet, but I know exactly what's going to happen there. As soon as they pass the bar, they're out the door. I gave you a survey. I think it's Indeed and Glassdoor. The average attorney in the Knoxville area is 131,080. Gave you some examples. TVA's at 223. Knox County, Tennessee, their deputy law director, their senior one's at 163. The firm that Rachel worked at when she did bankruptcies, Clark and Washington, is there on the 3rd page. They've made an offer to her, but she loves the challenge of working out here. She loves the area of government law, and she loves Anderson County. This will be her home, and I need to start making plans for my retirement. I'm not going to be here but few more years, and then I'm going to go home. And she's the perfect person, I think. You've worked with her. She's wonderful, and she's got a pleasant disposition. She's smart. She's loves to help people. She's not one of these people that's not going to be open to any questions you have. So you can look forward to that. And just a couple of other examples. The one page I wanted you to look at is the last page there, and that's the median salary report. And you see, even if I bring her up to 72, she's probably in the 20th percentile, which is not good for retention, but she seems to be happy with that. She appreciates that. But right now, she's at 60, and you can see she's probably in the bottom 2% of attorneys in this area. But that's what I need to do, is bring her up to that, reestablish that Assistant County Attorney Code, bring her up to the $72,000 in salary. That would give her a $12,000 raise, and including all her benefits that she needs to have, and dues and bar memberships and things of that nature. And then I'd like to bring that paraprofessional code, it's the paralegal code, up to $45,000, see if I can get some takers on that. But any questions, that's what I need. Robbie, I need you to help me finish these benefits here.
Well, so I have all that included in the budget.
Good.
And that increase was only $15,033, but I'm not sure about the dues, or if we have that in there.
Nicole increased them. 355 is an increase of 900.
Okay, and
then dues, she's got those in 320. increase of 400.
So I have all the increases in there at $15,033.
Yeah, I had it a little below that, didn't I? But that,
That
but
includes benefits and,
but you understand, I'm taking away one
Right.
legal position.
and I put the $45,000 in the
Okay.
paralegal code, so,
Okay, so
I
you
think I
got
have-
45?
yes.
You got any questions?
So
Robbie,
the-
anybody got any questions? I'm here for you.
Commissioner Wanda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Jay and Robbie, does the 477, 699 cover it all?
I believe so, yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay, I hope so. I rely on Robbie. Yeah, you got that. Yeah. And
That
you
comes
got-
up to about 15.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You was at 462, 66 prior, and the new request would be 477, if I'm reading this right, 477, 66, or 699.
Yes. That's what I have. I don't think I'm missing anything. I know I've got the salaries right and the benefits, unless one of the other codes got off somehow.
Well, if we
It's
think,
Probably just the dues and the memberships and that other one I talked about, the travel, which is the
you-
training.
if you think it covers it, I'll make a motion to approve the requested budget of 477, 699.
Thank you, sir.
Motion made by Commissioner Wandell to approve the law director's budget increase, seconded by Commissioner Denenberg. What was that total again, Robbie?
$15,033 is the increase. The budget now is 477, 699.
So will we need another motion after this to approve his budget?
That will, I think, if you approve with the motion that
This will take
Commissioner
care of it
Wandell
all?
made, this will
That's
take
a
care of
good
it.
question. I see what you're asking.
Everybody have that understanding of what we're
okay.
doing?
Good question, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, so just, that's it. Very good, Chair.
Thank you, Robbie. I appreciate you.
I'm
buddy.
sorry, I'm not.
No, honestly, I think I'll have money to return this year and next year, but we'll get it washed out and get it right. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Jay.
So I was able to meet with the Sheriff's Department this morning to go over some of the revenues. I'll have that in the budget next time. We're increasing some. And with these new positions that we've added, the expenditures, I will also have met with Mark Stevens in the election office and have his budget. I think it's going to decrease a little bit. So, decrease a little. Based on, they have one election this year and we get reimbursed for that election, $70,000. So I'll have more permanent numbers or what we're looking at as far as the general fund budget goes, and we'll be able to make, see a clearer picture how much money we have as far as the sheriff budget goes, other employee raises. And also, we get the school's budget next month, so we have that coming as well. So. Anyway, so what I have left today is 2
Hey,
grant
Robbie.
applications
Robbie,
in
can I
Section
ask you a
F.
question real quick?
Yes, sir.
When
Yes,
you-
ma'am. Sorry.
When you present what Kim is proposing for the increase in salaries, are you gonna give us a total for every county employee, what it would cost?
Who's
Kim, with HR, I saw the email with the 3%.
normally we just make that decision. She can recommend, I mean, whatever she would like as an HR director,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean we have the funds to cover any
That's
budget,
right. I
any
was
raise
wondering if you're
recommended.
gonna give us the totals.
I will, I have, if you
what
look
it
at
would
your
cost.
third page of your, of that I also gave you,
This
has
one?
different raise scenarios on it. There was this in the
That's
chart.
that last one.
And the
Okay.
very last page shows you what each fund, a 1%, 2%, 3%.
Gotcha.
Cost each fund. And each fund has to support their own raise through the tax, if they're part of the tax levy. The general fund can't support every raise, so we are talking about, in the general fund, the sheriff, like EMS raises is their fund. They have to support that, which they already have a budget deficit. So, but, yeah, I mean, we normally, I'll make a recommendation what I think we can afford as far as a raise goes, but, yeah, I mean, and we just have to, I make what I think we can afford as far as
Yes.
we're collecting already.
Well, you're
so.
the expert.
Right. Well, I'm not the expert.
We're relying
but
on you.
Anyway, that will come next month, I think, in
Okay.
the May meeting. So, unless there's any other budget questions,
Yeah, Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman,
Wandell.
so you met with the sheriff's department, and did you get updated on the numbers?
Yes, we increased some revenues, we talked about those, and I have a clearer picture of what that's gonna look like now, and, 3 or 4 of them that, all increased, or we think will increase next year, which will provide more revenue in the budget, and I'll be able to bring that to you next month, too. I'm not sure, one thing though, in making out the budget calendar, do wanna say this as well. We always include that one extra meeting in March, which we didn't get to have it, but we did have a workshop. Normally we have, and I try to make the rest of the budget process go in budget meetings, regular scheduled budget meetings. If we're willing to meet a little longer, we can do that, but we may need to schedule one more meeting
I'm fine with that.
because I know we have more to do with the sheriff, EMS, and those sometimes can get into some longer discussions. It may be that we need to schedule a separate meeting, and we might do that in, this is the April meeting, possibly May, maybe do 2 in May, if we don't get anything accomplished a lot accomplished in the next budget meeting, then we could schedule another budget meeting in May. So that's just something I think that might need to happen, so. I don't want to schedule 2, and I told Shane I'm not really interested in scheduling 2 budget meetings in 1 week again, because that's a lot of work, and a lot to think about. So,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, will we have another meeting? It sounds like we might have one, just because, I do think the next meeting could go quite long.
right. So I'm perfectly fine with that. So. Any other budget questions? Yeah.
I got a request. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And we talked about this in the workshop. And this is something the mayor did not ask, but I would like for us, and I don't know if, Mr. Chairman, this is the appropriate time to do it. I'd like to increase her line item on this other per diem.
The per diem, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it was at, in 2011, it was set at 2,400, I think, and then
It's 4,800 now.
4,800 a year. And that's where the mayor gets reimbursed for her own vehicle, right?
Yes.
Traveling and things. So I think you said that the directors of schools is somewhere near 9,000 or so.
Yes,
Plus
and something else I learned since that meeting, since I even brought that up in the workshop, is the mayor found, had a ruling or an opinion on that, and I actually have copies for y'all, but I didn't hand them out tonight because I didn't think it was going to come up, but.
Should I bring this up now, or should we wait?
No, you can bring it up. We can vote on that.
What's your copy on? What's it about?
Well, his opinion was the mayor is supposed to make 5% more than the sheriff and the road superintendent, and both of them have take-home vehicles. And his opinion back then, which
Makes sense to me. I know what you're
right,
saying.
that's why they allotted the money they did. So 4,800 back in that day is not worth near as much as it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Well, all this started when she got into office,
right.
and made a motion that she go back to the original amount set for our county our size. And in other words, the other mayor was here, and the new mayor came in, and we went to where it should be when you're starting, and this kind of came around after that. But that's fine. But
Right.
I'm willing, Mr. Chairman, if we don't need to do it right this second, but
No, it helps. If we do that, it actually helps us
Yeah,
get
we can go ahead and get
a
it
clearer
in.
picture.
So
Even more.
what is it we need to, is it the 9,600, or what's the number we need to be to get her whole?
I mean, if that's up to the budget committee. I mean, 4,800. I was thinking of doubling it. Yes, or Dr. Parrott does take home 9,600 now.
All right,
9,600.
I'll make a motion that we increase that per diem revenue code 100-51300-199 other per diem from 4,800 to 9,600 to be in today's numbers.
Motion made by Commissioner Wandell to increase mayor travel per diem to 9,600. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Bochamp. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hold on. Mayor Frank, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just want to make sure, so the legal opinion just specified that it was about, so this was from, 2011, it specifies, with regard to the statutory requirement on the compensation. I would just like to verify that number, I just want to stick with whatever that would be with IRS that would be in that compliance with,
And I'm
yeah.
I'm
so-
open to amending the motion to meet the IRS requirements.
Yeah,
Is that
so
how
that, yeah, that would be my purpose, because I don't want to stand up here and ask for more money for, I really don't.
Well, you
but
didn't ask for none in the first place.
It goes to making sure, because the sheriff and the highway superintendent both have a full vehicle, it goes to that compensation issue.
Understood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's perfect. She needs that. She attends a lot of meetings away from the office, but, you know, she's still at the lowest level. She's at the minimum salary. I think it was Mayor Awanski, we reduced it down to the base level.
Yeah, that's
Mayor
right.
Lynch was 2 steps up. I think Mayor Frank is still at the base level, so if I'm not mistaken, that's where you're at, the base level, for counties in our size. But that's, that legal opinion's still good.
Do I need to change my motion,
No,
Jay?
no, not a bit. The
Well,
motion was 9,600.
9,600 to meet IRS obligations. How's that sound, Mayor?
She sounds like she wants to turn in the mileage, right, the actual mileage to beat the IRS.
saying like whatever
That should cover it.
whatever meets, that makes the statute even for the sheriff,
That's it.
because it's compensation.
How about this? How about the motion to, up to 9,600, to, meet the guidelines of the statutory requirements of the state?
You good with that second?
Yep, good.
Yeah?
Well-
Commissioner Foster?
Well, we did vote, so we not need a vote.
No, we,
No, we don't.
We didn't?
I did not take the vote.
Okay, there was a lot
I
of
stopped the
yeses, so
vote.
that's why.
All right.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
See you, girl. Take care.
Okay.
Hang on just a second.
I have two more things that'll go really quick. We just need approval for 2 grants. One's the Norris Community Library grant for $1,749. We're just approval to apply for these grants is all they're seeking.
Motion approved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wandale, second by Commissioner Dennisberg to apply for the Norris Library grant.
And EMS, Lash grant for $1,800.
We want to group, want to make those a group?
Yes, please.
Is that okay with you guys? As a
The
group?
maker of the motion is Vandergriff.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Who made the motion? Shelley.
I cut her off. I cut her off. I cut her off.
Back in for the motion.
And I do have, under new business, 2 budget amendments.
Can we
that-
vote on this one?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Good job. Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Good job,
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Chairman.
Robert.
Okay, one is a transfer from the law director for $919 to attend the TCAA conference, decreasing other.
Motion approved.
Second.
Thank you. And one is for county commission, unassigned fund balance, $5,700. We upped that a little bit than what you're seeing in front of you for travel and staff development for the May legislative conference in Gatlinburg.
Yep.
For county
Motion.
commissioners to attend.
Second.
Wandale and Foster, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Thank you all.
One announcement before we leave. Thank you to Commissioner Yeager for addressing Commissioner Wandale's question. He has found Robert's Rules of Order, and it says, no, it is not true that the president or chairman can only vote to break a tie. If the president is a member of the voting body, he or she has exactly the same rights and privileges as all other members have, including the right to make motions, to speak in debate, and to vote on all questions. So in meetings of a small board, where there are not more than about a dozen board members present, and in meetings of a committee, the presiding officer may exercise these rights and privileges as fully as any other member. Then it goes into, however, the impartiality required of the presiding officer of any other type of assembly, and goes into full county commission minutes and all that, and I'll forward that to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You all good, man.
All good.
Yep. No, I appreciate it.
Without any further business, we're adjourned.
Hey, Bill, sit back, Bill, sit next time. Okay.